Welcome back to this ratty 1966 Kawasaki W1. I guess the next thing to do would be take the pistons off. I don't even know if I would reuse them anyway. If I can find another pair, because I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if this thing had pre-ignition. But the tops are just all beat up. The heads look good though. I don't know if these pins will slide out or if I'm going to need a puller for them. I guess we're just going to try pulling the clips out and seeing if we can slide them out. If not, maybe we'll try heating up the piston a little or something, see if they'll slide out. Not with a torch, with a heat gun or something. But let's get at it. The only reason I'm wondering if these have to be pressed out or not is because this engine was kind of modeled after a BSA, and I do believe the BSAs did, but oh, it moves. Won't come out, but it does slide, which is good. It's probably got a burr on the end holding it in there. Maybe it does press out. I may have to take out the other pin, which I don't like doing over the engine, but yeah, see, that one stops right there too. Let me take out the other side, see if it'll slide out that way. I did check up and down play, like here and side to side. It's really good. Yeah. All right. So there's one. And that one's actually going pretty easy now. So I'm learning a little bit more about these as I go. I did mark the pistons and I marked the piston wrist pin. Also, I put the word flat on this end because one side of this has like a cone on it and the other side's flat. And I don't know what the significance is of that. I don't know if I'm going to use these pistons or wrist pins. But if I end up having to, at least I know what order they came out in. Interesting thing, if you look down inside here, you'll notice that this is the center of the piston, but the hole is offset to one side. And they did this, according to the repair manual, to eliminate piston slap. So they just offset the piston a little bit, the connecting rod into the piston. All right, so let's grab these up. Come over here. I did put, I got to get a bore gauge for these. I did quickly put a digital caliper in the ends, and there's supposed to be a 94 bore, and really that was like 93.95 on both ends, but we'll see. Also, these pistons are supposed to be tapered too a little bit. So this side is a lot looser than this side from what I read. And I think they said they did that because the heat was up here and this end would expand more than this end. So as the engine gets hot, it actually creates a straighter piston in the barrel. Well, I don't know. I'm just reading all this stuff out of the manual. So let's flip this over. Here's our lifters for our push rods that run off the cam. All right, so let's see. This side, when it's on the engine, is the left side. So this is the right. And that's the front. I'm just going to put this in here. That goes all the way down anyway. And this one in here. Now we have to measure the gap between the piston and the wall. And we'll see what that is. And see what the spec is for it. Okay, I don't really care about its exact measurement as long as it's between the specs, which is 0020 and 0036 for a W1, which is pretty flimsy, these. Let's get this up here, and we're supposed to measure it like about 1/4 of an inch down at the skirt. .0020 is about, I don't think we're going to get anything bigger than that in there. Here's 0035. I mean, that's like stuck in there. All right, so I'd say that that one is actually good. I have no idea how many miles are on this engine again. We only need to measure it in one space, in one spot. Yeah, that's pretty tight in there, the 020. And you can get it going in around the side, then work it to this side. Yeah, that's got quite a bit of drag on it. The 035. If you get it in there, it wedges in there. So, yeah, I say we're good. Here's something you don't see every day. So, I can turn the steering. This contraption here is the fork lock. So what you do is you get it into a certain spot where the hole lines up. You push this down and you take this key out. And there's different keys. And then you can't turn the steering. Don't lose that key. Put it back in. Push it down. Then you should be able to, I guess the spring in here's a little shot. Pop that back up again. And then your steering will move. Needs a little oil in it, but it's there and it does work. One of the few things on this bike. Okay, here's something for the old school mechanics. Flip the head over, put the spark plugs in it. We're going to put gasoline in it, not water. This water has too much surface tension. We're going to fill these up and see if they leak down. If they leak down, that means the valves are leaking. And we can find out which hole they're leaking from. Okay, it's been several minutes and our level has not gone down. So it looks like we don't have any leaky valves here. That doesn't mean I'm not going to take them out and lap them anyway. But it's just a good sign that, you know, it's not pouring out an intake or an exhaust, because then we know exactly where it was leaking from. Okay, new day for me. I have some of these bore measuring gauges. What you do is you put it in the bore, you tighten this end up, that will lock it in place, you wiggle it out and then measure it with some calipers. Alright, let's try this again. 73.99. Supposed to be a 74 standard bore. I'm not getting any super huge numbers here. I've been trying it at all different places down the cylinder. I zeroed out my calipers, 94.01. And I believe it was a 94 bore with a maximum of 0.1. Before you had to bore them. 74.03. Yeah, they look good. Almost look like they haven't worn. These are the tappets that ride on the cam. They all look good. There's no feeling of like flat spots or wear. The cam itself down there looks good. So I think we're going to hone this, remeasure it after we hone it, and I'm going to move on to the cylinder head now. All right, we're going to remove the valves. My little cheapy valve remover tool. You might remember this from the Yamaha XS2 when I worked on the putting valve seals on that bike. I don't believe the W1s had valve seals. The CB350 didn't have them either. We are going to use this cheapy little thing. I marked each valve where it goes and where it's coming out of, I should say. This tool should work pretty good for this head. Doesn't look like it's hard to get at anything. Let me grab my magnet. Come on, don't be stubborn. There you go. Keep these somewhere where I hopefully don't lose them. Double springs. Yeah, there's no valve seal on there. Valve guide play. Very little. Valve itself doesn't feel worn. Surface looks like it's making good contact. Same with this side. All right, let's continue getting the rest of them out. The intakes look really good. The valve seats. If you can get a good look at them. Doesn't appear to be really any oil present in there. As for the valves themselves, okay. To check valve guides, you want just a little bit of wiggle. If there's no wiggle, you're probably too tight. If there's a lot of wiggle, you're sloppy. These have just a little wiggle. There doesn't seem to be any wear on the stem. I'm going to go with it the way it is, because I don't really see an issue. A lot of times you'll have oil in the intake if you have worn valve guides in the intake side. Yeah, we're going to go with it the way it is. We're probably just going to lap them because we kind of know they're already sealed by the test I did with the gasoline. We'll clean these up, and I think we'll have these heads done. Welcome back. So I took the controls off of the handlebars, and to my surprise, they're completely empty. There's no wires, no anything in there. This one's cracked, and a chunk's missing off here. So that's good. I got to get at least that side done. The throttle tube. Of course, that grip is not the right grip for it. So today, what are the plans today? I think I'm going to dump all the oil out of the engine, remove a few parts. I'll put you on some time lapse, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, so these have like a little oil pan on them. I'm guessing this thing wet sumped because there's quite a bit of oil came out of this engine and there was not a lot in the oil tank. The screen doesn't look bad except for these little marks like something hit it a few times. I don't see any debris in it though. So we'll clean that up and take a look underneath, and we'll continue going on from there. Okay, I just took the side cover off. And this is why you do this. This tensioner here, that thing's been welded back together. There's even still a piece of welding rod on there. Yeah, so that slipper is shot. I think there's supposed to be a seal on here. I could be wrong. It looks good in here though. The cover looks super clean. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, you might think the oil tank is missing. Bunch of other stuff. So I got home today and I'm only allowed so much time out here before my wife has to take off to go to an appointment. So I've just been kind of ripping into this. So yeah, I wonder what'll happen when we take this cover off. I did have 2 screws that did not want to come out, but we got them out. And yeah, we'll keep going on this. This harness is just. I'll have to see if I can find something for this. Oh, another day for me. Same video for you. Today we're going to take the outer primary off and see what kind of mess we have in here. Hopefully everything's good. Got a bolt out here, having some oil drain out. Not a whole lot in there. I don't think there's supposed to be too much in there though. All right, I started getting this bolt out. I'm getting this bolt out. We'll go around. Hopefully they come out. No surprises. So 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I would not come out. The head stripped. I tried impact, all that. So now I've drilled out 3 and I'm on the last one. And once I get the head of that one drilled off, we'll be good. So the drill bit I'm using is just a hair bigger than the bolt itself. So once it gets through the head, it'll just pop the head right off. Just like that. Now I can try to get this cover off. Probably going to put it up on a lift though. Make it level. So I have a feeling this primary is going to be stuck on good. Especially with those bolts still in there. Oh, I hope this doesn't make a mess. Let's give this some wax and see if we can get this thing off. Oh, well, that made a liar out of me. There's a bit of sludge in there, which is probably from the clutches. The chain feels good. Not really slacked or anything. This wire I'm worried about. I don't know how to replace this. If I can save this one or if I can find some wire for this. It's just locked to prevent it from the screws from coming undone. Let's start getting this apart. We got to start by see if we can get these bolts out. How loose that is now that the head's drilled off. Jeez. Couldn't come off that easy when you were in there though, could you? I'm gonna save these bolts so I know what length they are. You know, try to find replacements online somewhere that if I can't find, you know, like a bolt kit or something. Huh, all right. That came out much better than I anticipated. You can see why they need these bolts. These things, they're kind of like free floating in here. See why they need this wire, I mean. Don't these just unscrew? Yeah, they do. I'm sure there's spring tension on them though. Oh, remind me when we get back to the head. That's all it is. Ah. It's that bolt, a washer, a spring, and then that little, I don't know, little container thing for the spring. I'm not seeing this all the first time. No, I've done it before, so I'm not seeing it. It is what it is. Okay, plates were a little stuck together. I don't know if there's a ball in there or not. Yeah, they're stuck together. Okay. There's more safety wire in here holding this in. But I think if I get this off, I can probably take this whole drum off maybe? Let's find out. Okay, flat washer first, lock washer. Then we got this whole, it's like a compensator type thing for the front. Now does this just slide off? That does, that's good. There we go. Huh, that's interesting. Now, I believe what happens when you go to adjust this, you have to move the transmission backwards. Ooh, this chain has at one time dug in to this metal here. So at one time it was pretty loose. So I believe what happens is this part pivots inside here, and there's a big O-ring type thing that moves with it. There's also a seal here and a big seal here. All right. So what I think holds this on is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe these. We're going to start by taking those out first, and we'll find out. There's a nut on the other side. All right. Do we need to take that off? Or will this just slide out? This will just slide out, it looks like. Oh. Okay. I thought maybe it would slide around the chain. I think if I take the chain off, we're okay. I'm going to have to count the number of links on this chain because I do not know. I know it's a 530 chain. I don't know how many links are in it. I have 530 chain for a XS650, so I'm gonna hope that the SX651 is a little longer if I have to remove some links. So at some point in this bike's past, it has claimed a life. When I took the inner primary off, there's a dead bird in there. I don't know how he got in there. I mean, well, through the chain somehow, but I wonder how many years he's been in there. R.I.P. my little friend. And with the primary off, it doesn't look, the engine doesn't look so big anymore, does it? However, that sprocket is loose. The tab is there for the lock, but the nut is extremely loose, so hopefully that nut didn't pop over a thread or something like that. But these are pretty pointy too. We have new sprocket for it, front and back. Looks like the back one may have been replaced, but this front one, not so much. But this is why we do this, right? This is why we take it all apart. Not for the pleasure of it. Not for the joy it brings us. No. We do it because I don't know why we do it, to be honest with you. All right, so let's get that out. It's almost, see, my wife, she's got things to do, and I was only limited a certain amount of time tonight, so I think I'll have time to get this off, and that might be it for tonight, and probably this video. Next time, let's get this transmission out. Let's get this engine out. Let's start tearing everything off this frame. And maybe it'll look like something when we're done. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.